What is happening, pretty people? Little chit chat with T Road. My standard opening. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much for joining me today on Tuesday. Yesterday I got into the F bombs and a little backstory behind swim, bike, run, date, and T Row F bombs. And I just really wanted to spend a little time today talking about the next set of F bombs. Today we're going to talk about friends, and we're going to talk about fitness. Getting into friends is your connection and is your growth. Basically, the friends are the ones that pull you through. And I think that I always like to look at your friends as an archery board, right? And I don't know how the colors really set up, but the center is, let's say it's just black. That's you. The center is the black. The center of the target is black, and then from there it goes out in different colors. It has green, yellow, red, orange, blue, et cetera, et cetera. And you basically have friends that move in and out of that target, and that target is you. You're the bullseye. And in the book, I kind of get into talking a little bit about the friends that I've had in my life, and the friend that I wasn't to some of the people in my life. So if I couldn't show up for myself, how could I possibly show up for friends? And if I wasn't able to show up for myself or show up for friends, why would I expect people to show up for me? And I really hope that that's something you take into account. And maybe you have, and maybe you're already there. And thumbs up to you, congratulations. But it took me some time to get there. And in the book, I kind of go into really two types of friends. You have your foxhole friends, and you have your ride or die friends. In your foxhole friends and your ride or die friends, there's really, honestly, the older you get, there's only about 3 to 5 friends that you have in your life that you could really give a call at 2 o'clock in the morning. And they're either going to pick up or they're going to be there for you. I'm not talking about the friends that you have on Facebook, the 2,000, 3,000 friends. Those are acquaintances. And that's an important distinction to know, that a majority of the people in your life are going to be acquaintances. And they're gonna come in and out of your life. There's an amazing expression that I heard in my journey in faith, and that is, friends. Some will stay with you for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. People come into your life for a reason, they'll come into your life for a season, and some will be for a lifetime. So basically, you're going to learn from those friends. So your foxhole friends are the ones that are going to be with you through thick and thin. And I've had some incredible friends next to me that have been in my life that I've known for 40 years. And I touched on it earlier, that through the things that happened in COVID and the division that we had between BLM, the vax, non-vax, the mask, non-mask, all of that stuff, is when I knew that we were definitely at a crossroads in time. And since then, politically and emotionally, I've lost, friends that I've known for 40 years. I just think that, it's really unfortunate. It definitely has broken my heart on that one. But I have a really close friend that I actually talk about him in the book. He's Bill. He's not only a foxhole friend, he's also a ride or die friend. And there's a really great way to sum it up. And many of you have seen the movie, I think it's called The Town, with Ben Affleck and Jeremy Renner. And Ben Affleck says, comes into the room and he says, I'm going to need your help. Some people are going to get hurt, and you can never ask me about it again. And then Jeremy Renner pauses and he goes, whose car we're taking? I mean, my friend Bill is the type of guy that if I gave him a call and said, Bud, I'm in trouble, I'm going to need some help, and his first question is going to be like, do I need to bring a shovel? So those are I'm not advocating violence or taking people out. I'm just simply saying that no matter what goes on in your life, that you have to have a foxhole friend that's going to be there with you through thick and thin. And that ride or die friend, sometimes there's a strong distinction between those two, because your foxhole friend is going to be through thick and thin, and your ride or die friend is going to be right by your side, and he or she's going to go through that shit with you. So for me, friends are the most important thing that I've developed after the book that I wrote, Swim, Bike, Run, Date, because I realized that I wasn't a good person or a good friend to myself. So could I possibly be a good friend to other people? And then consequently, why would I expect people to show up for me if I didn't show up for myself? So that is friends. And next, I'm going to get into fitness. Fitness, most of you have known me for a long time, and the entire time I was in Los Angeles, fitness was who I was. It was my identity. It made up everything I was. I was involved in fitness my entire life, from football and track from my high school and college days. And then many of you know I blew out my neck. If you don't know, I get into it in both books. I blew out my neck and I had a career-ending injury, and I was never going to play football again. The doctor said, you got to find a new hobby. And that took a year of strong depression, rehab and recovery, drugs and alcohol, just kind of spiraling into a really shitty life. And then once I was able, once I got into my 30s, once I got through the rehab and recovery, and I was able to build a strong foundation, I got into triathlons. And from those triathlons, they went to obstacle course racing, went into marathons, half Ironmans, full Ironmans, century rides. And what I want to stress about fitness is I don't expect you to accomplish what I've accomplished. I'm going to brag and boast a little bit here. A couple of years ago, I posted about how I wanted my private goal by the time I turned 55, I wanted to do 55 races, and I accomplished that. And those were all strong endurance races, whether those are half marathons, full marathons, half Ironmans, full Ironmans, Olympic triathlons, century rides, Spartans, etc. I was able to accomplish all that. And I don't expect you to do that, but I do expect you to move. And one of the things that fitness is the gateway to all success in your life. And I'm going to get into all those F-bombs. You know, fitness is a gateway to your family, your fitness, your faith, your finances, all of them I'm going to get into. So I don't expect you to do all the extreme things that I've done. Good luck to you if you want to do that. I'm happy to help in any way that I can. But I do expect you to move. You know, whether that's just simply getting up and going for a walk, or doing yoga, Pilates, Tai Chi, whatever it is, you've got to get off the couch, because what we're dealing with right now, and I'm going to get into fuel, which is basically food and how you fuel your body, is we're dealing with an epidemic of obesity in America that is staggering, and it's alarming. I've never been overweight in my life. I'm happy to say that. I wear 34 jeans, and I have for the last 30 years. So I've never put on weight, but I've struggled with other demons. And I've kind of gotten into that with drugs and alcohol, how I abuse that. But your fitness is the foundation to who you are. And I really don't think, I think it's an excuse when people say they don't have time. You got to make time for yourself, and you got to make time for your fitness. So team, as I mentioned, I'm going to spend basically just 10 minutes just kind of talking a little bit of a webinar. Maybe you're going to think I'm just blabbing here, but it's important for me to share the F-bombs with you. And T-Row F-bombs and Swim, Bike, Run, Date, my first book, all proceeds go to silencethenoise.org, which is a foundation I set in my sister's name to combat mental health awareness. And all those proceeds go to NAMI, which is the National Alliance of Mental Illness. So team, on Monday we talked about faith and family. Today we talked about friends and fitness. There's the QR code right there on the screen. Go ahead and get a snapshot of that. Purchase the book. I would love to know your feedback. The comments and the support has been overwhelming from everybody there in social media world. You guys are reaching out, offering a lot of great support. You guys are ribbing me a little bit, and I really enjoy it. So pick up the book. All proceeds go to silencethenoise.org, which in turn goes to NAMI. That's the QR code. If you don't want to purchase the book, that's fine too. But I strongly encourage you to find out what those F-bombs are in your life, what they mean to you, and how you can redefine your friendship and your fitness goals. And then also know that it's important to talk about mental health. I'm always going to kind of bring it back to that, because we all battle with it. I battled with it with drugs and alcohol. My sister battled with it with diagnosed schizophrenia and manic depression. And I'm pretty confident that you guys battle with it one way or another. Maybe it's on a smaller scale, maybe it's on a large scale. And lastly, we all know somebody who's battling with some sort of anxiety, some sort of depression, and just the dark cloud that covers our lives in mental health. Tomorrow is Wednesday. You guys have made it to 2 of 5 days on T-Row F-bombs. Thank you so much for joining me. We'll see you tomorrow.